So these numbers are good enough to get it to. Okay. These numbers are good enough to get it to qualify for both the U.S. federal rebate and also the ComEd rebate. So I got $3,400 back from the various sources. So I was saying the indoor unit's a little simple. So it's just a fixed speed blower. A lot of people talk about how I've got a variable speed system, and that's great. It's expensive. It's lovely. There are ups and downs of all these things. Like I said, the outdoor unit's very smart and it's variable. There, as I was saying, it's kind of up in the air. It's away from the house as much as I get it. I mean, it's, again, this is like up here, right? So I designed this rig so that I could actually put a roof over it to keep snow from falling on it. I didn't do that. I don't know. They suggest it, but I didn't do it. Oh, did you want me to move out of the way? All right. So you'll notice it's a big unit. That's 300 odd pounds of outdoor equipment. It's just the unit itself. Indoor unit, there's one of my heat pump water heaters. There's another one right next to it here. And later on, I insulated these lines, if you're wondering. So yeah, this is a big, heavy unit. You'll notice it's up high. It's up near the ceiling. So to limit the amount of ductwork it has to flow air through, I actually put it on threaded rod because, you know, I do electrical work. So threaded rod is kind of a thing I have hanging around my house. And that way I just run it up on the thread. I had it sitting on the floor and I just ran it right up on the threaded rod all the way up to till it made contact with the ductwork up top. And by doing that, I also rotated it 90 degrees. So the original system was sitting in facing the other direction. And when it did that, it was more constricted in how it interfaced with the ductwork, supply side ductwork going out to the house. By rotating it 90 degrees and then putting it right on that ductwork, I opened it up so it'd have less back pressure on the system, because back pressure is bad. Just say that. Okay, so this is my gas, just like the chart for my gas bill. And I know it's an eye chart. This is March. So you can see like it starts in March and it goes to February. So this is obviously when I was still using gas for heat, right? And you can see it drop off over time. And I still had a gas, and this is dollars, not therms. So they have a minimum charge. You're going to get paid your $30 a month every month, no matter what, if you have a gas bill, right? Even if you have no usage. And so this was basically a gas dryer and a gas water heater running. And then I got rid of both those things. And then I turned off the gas. Yeah. All right. Okay. Gas usage. We're talking about dollars and cents here, obviously, right? So I want to start out by talking, what's the gas? What was I paying in gas? Because I'm going to give you I'll cut to the chase. You're not going to save money by doing all electric. At least not with a house that like most people have. We're an older house, or my house was built in 2002. It's not old, and it's been updated, some insulation and stuff like that. It's not terrible, but the amount of energy it takes to heat a house is pretty substantial in this environment. And so gas is cheap because, I don't know, there's a lot of discussion around that. Anyway, so February 24 was the worst month on that I look back for 2 years. 207 therms, $158.90. So, and then I got the breakdown here of what those individual bits are, so you can see them. So that's like the baseline, right? I can say, okay, that was a bad, cold, bad month. Yes.
What is the square footage of this house? Is it 2 stories?
It is a 2-story house, 2,700 square foot, and it has about a 900 square foot basement, unfinished basement. The basement is also helped out by the fact that it had like nearly a kilowatt of computer gear in it. So it was always had like 1,000 watts of computer stuff running in it. So the basement kind of yeah, all the time in the basement. Sometimes it was 800 watts. You get the idea. I had all my computers and stuff centralized in that house. So everybody in the house had computers, but they were all in the basement. So that way, if the desks were upstairs, had run lines and everything. Anyway, that was great because in the summertime, all the heat and stuff's in the unfinished basement where it gets sucked up by everything. All right. So yeah, 207 therms, $150, right? That's the rest of this data you're going to see is based on, I have an Emporia system, which is a energy monitoring system. So it's circuit by circuit, monitors all the different circuits. So you're going to see that. But that's where I'm getting this data from. Okay, no more gas bill. So as I said earlier, minimum charge, $29.96. At least that was what it was when I had it last. So when you take that across a year, hey, that's $360 I'm not paying, right? Because I got rid of the gas bill. I'm not paying the gas company $360 anymore. So I'm going to take credit for that to help out with this, because we can see this, and this is just the outdoor unit. Okay, so when you have a heating and cooling system, you have the indoor unit and the outdoor unit. This is just the outdoor unit. And the reason why I did that is because that's a direct comparison to those therms I was showing earlier. If I was trying to show you the indoor unit, I could show you that data, but that would get really ugly because the old indoor unit was really inefficient. The blower motor sucked, and it was really bad. So it would actually skew it to make it look better. And I don't want to do that. I want everybody to have an honest view on what's happening. Okay, $355. That's a lot, right? A whole lot more than 196. 277, 227. Okay, these are big numbers, right? So yeah, last winter I paid $962 from November through February for heating. And that's, again, just the outdoor unit. Now, that excludes the backup heat. You may be saying, Jeff, that's a huge amount of energy. I have a 10 kilowatt backup heat unit because, again, I don't have gas for backup. So when you get to most thermostats, they'll go into backup heat when you get 3 degrees below the set point. All right. And I know that's a whole lot to digest in a short period of time there. But basically, when your temperature falls, if your set point is 70 degrees and your temperature gets to 67, the thermostat will say, whoop, that's bad. And it'll throw on whatever your backup heat is. Okay. So in the 7 o'clock in the morning or so, my wife would get up and she'd take the dogs outside and open the front door and then put the leashes on the dogs, and air would be rushing in the whole time. And then eventually they go outside. And on top of that, I would have a set point change between like overnight temperature and daytime temperature around that same time. And those two things would triggered backup heat to run. I did tweak that a little bit on the coldest day so it would be less of a problem. So I raised my overnight set point so it wouldn't trigger it as much, ironically. And I had 3 hours of backup heat, 3 total through the whole winter. So 3 hours times 10 kilowatt is, 30 kilowatt hours, right? That's nothing. Okay, $5 or whatever. To say the least, I was impressed by that. I did not expect that situation. I expected to be running, a substantial amount of backup heat. Traditional all-electric houses with a basic heat pump and then backup heat will run a lot of backup heat in the winter like what we had last winter or any winter around here. You can certainly do that. You can certainly run those systems. You'll spend a little more. But this heat pump at full tilt, it'll suck about 8 kilowatts. So it's no joke. It's pulling a lot of energy. Now, I know I have friends that have done the other way. She was asking me about mini splits. And I have friends that went the other direction and put in a bunch of mini splits. And so I was saying SEER 2 of like 17. On a mini split system, they're very optimized, like extremely optimized. And you'll see those with SEER 2s of 25 to 32. Okay, so these things are nearly twice the efficiency for the given heat. My next house I'm working on right now, it's getting mostly mini split systems. All the upstairs, the attic, the basement, like it's almost all mini splits, almost all high efficiency mini splits. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this winter as I get into that. And I'll collect data, don't worry. A friend of mine does have that set up, but he's also spent a lot of time and effort and money insulating his house, like super insulating his house. Like, more insulated than a beer cooler insulated. And his house, his peak was like 1 kilowatt in the coldest night. Like when I'm running 8 and he's running 1, it's like, wow, okay, that's impressive. Okay. So again, indoor unit, 8,103 kilowatt hours for the indoor unit. Hold on. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So that includes backup heat. That includes all sorts of stuff. So like I said, 151 kilowatt hours. That's the indoor unit. That includes backup heat. It's not very significant. It's not very much. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. That's not the big problem. Okay, yeah. Indoor heating, like I said before, it does include the backup heat. Far less than I anticipated. $981. It's a lot of money, right? My previous year, $326. Okay, that's not exactly the same. Those winters weren't precisely the same or whatever. You can make arguments that there's some variability here. but I didn't make any insulation changes to the house. I'd done that previously. So yeah, you're talking about a $300 increase, and that includes the dollars that we didn't spend on. So that includes the $360 that I took credit for earlier on not having a gas bill anymore, right? So that's $300. That's not free, but you know, if your goals are to be all electric, meh. Now, I had an old AC system that I got rid of, obviously, and put in a much more efficient AC system. And so I know I got a lot of that back in the summertime, but you know, I could have gotten that by putting in a new AC system, not doing what I did. I wouldn't have saved much money on the install. It would have cost me $1,000 or $2,000 less in equipment. So I paid $1,000 or $2,000 more to spend more money, but also get rid of natural gas. I think that's worth it. You guys can make your own decision, but I want you to have this information. And this is my house specifically. But, and there's, like I said, there's ways to tweak that. But if you're in a big house and you want a drop-in replacement that is just a straight, you know, furnace style system, fully ducted, no mini splits on the walls, anything like that, you just want to drop in a full system, something like this can definitely be done. And depending on, you know, your exact situation, you know, maybe you can go up in capacity like I did, because by going up in capacity, that actually made a big difference, because I would have been running a lot more backup heat if I'd only been limited to 3 tons. Okay, I would have had a lot less, I had a lot more backup heat. So again, I was surprised at how well that went. Okay, electricity costs. Electricity costs are regulated, right? They do go up, but they are regulated. Gas prices are not regulated. They will shift with world events. Everybody knows when Russia invaded Ukraine, gas prices skyrocketed. Now, they didn't necessarily skyrocket on our bill immediately, because gas companies hedge. They hedge in the futures market. So if those people are familiar with that process, they do that. Obviously, if you're running all electric, buy some solar, right? And defer that. Yeah, I'm happy to spend the $300 a year to be off of natural gas. And if you're going a different route, and if you're building a new house and you're air sealing it, insulating it to best practices for that sort of thing, you will not be paying anything extra. Just, let's be honest here. Because the delta between gas and electric, when you start to insulate and really improve that efficiency of the home itself, the building envelope itself, as we say, you get to the point where a 4-ton system will be way too big. You're getting down to the point where, as long as you've got a system that can run at very low temperatures, you'll be fine. The GREE system can run down to -22, and there's other systems on the market that can go to -31. So, you know, these things can run to very low temperatures. And that's its rating. As far as I know, it will run lower than that. I've not personally tried it, but it didn't get cold enough for me to find out. It ran fine at every temperature it hit. So, but yes, by all means, add some solar, offset that kilowatt hours. Of course, these days you won't get the full net metering, which is a bummer. You get 60%, as I recall, give or take. And so you might want to do something about that. I will offer, an opinion of mine is that, as I said, I'm a car charging guy, right? I have electric cars. I have 4 electric cars. I used 1,300 kilowatt hours in electricity in car charging alone last month, just for perspective. That's not abnormal. That's okay. I have 4 electric cars. Well, that's totally separate. This is just the heating and cooling system. Everything you've seen here is isolated just to that. Because again, I have the energy monitor. I've got circuit by circuit monitoring. So I know exactly what I'm using on every circuit. Okay. So yeah, you can add solar. I can't set up a natural gas mine in my backyard and make more natural gas, right? It's not going to work out for me. A lot of, okay. Yeah. Insulation is your friend. If you, like I said, if you do air sealing, if you spend that effort and time to make your house as efficient as you can, your overnight demand, your cold weather demand will go down to the point where it just doesn't make much difference anymore. You need that big backup heat. You need that high capacity because you have a lot of And then I would say, obviously, attic. Oh,
It stopped sharing internet.
technology has failed us. Pesky technology. But if you're, yeah, I'm not responsible for the technology. I didn't even, I tried to hook up my laptop, but I forgot the adapter to hook it up to HDMI. So I couldn't even use my laptop. So I failed myself. Exactly. So, okay, I talked about this earlier. And are we back? Okay, we're not back. All right. So the gist is, if you want to do air sealing, if you're gutting a room or something like that, you want to put a vapor barrier, a air barrier between the wall, the drywall, and the insulation. But you don't want it to be a vapor barrier. You want it to be a permeable barrier that's vapor permeable but air sealing. Okay. If somebody wants to talk more about that, see me afterwards, and we'll talk more about that. If you're ripping drywall off, or if you're taking off if you're doing a siding change, ripping off the siding, putting on new siding, that's when you put up insulation around the outside of your house, right? Because that's an excellent place to put it, because it's outside the studs. You no longer have the averaging of the studs. It's fantastic. Okay, there's a couple of different ways to solve that problem depending on what kind of work you're doing. Yeah, so I talked about this earlier. I could have saved, I saved a substantial amount of kilowatt hours with the modern good air conditioner. But again, I could have achieved that other ways with another modern good air conditioner. Gotta click on the thing. Okay, there we go. So what I don't have in here is the ComEd discount for being electric heat. I don't have that in here. I didn't have that set up. So I'm reporting my actual numbers. If you have an all electric house, you tell ComEd that, especially if you're building it that way. You tell ComEd, hey, I'm built an all electric house. When you set me up, make sure you set me up on the all electric rate. They will do that. And from what I understand, it's at least a couple cents a kilowatt hour. And you start doing a few thousand kilowatt hours, that starts adding up pretty fast. And if you do it me and you're talking about all the electric car charging, you're getting that discount on everything, not just on what you're using for heating. I did not get this done. I got distracted with everything else. I've got all the data, and then I got distracted with life, and then I didn't do it. And then I sold the house, so it didn't matter anymore. So yeah, these are all basic rates. It would reduce and narrow that margin. Is it for the $250 or whatever it is? Yeah, sure. It's a little closer, right? But it's
new owner do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone can do that. Like I said, ComEd may have to come out and do an inspection. Friends of mine that have been through that, they said they came out and they looked to make sure she wasn't running gas, anything, whatever. But no big deal. So yeah, yes, it can be done at any point. ComEd doesn't care if you pay them more money in the meantime. But yeah, so that's sort of, you could definitely narrow that gap a little bit with getting that set up properly. Okay, end of slideshow. We're into the question section. Yes.
Facebook and tax, rebates and.
Well, it was a ComEd rebate and then a federal tax deduction. ComEd does not end, as far as I know, because that's driven by the Illinois legislature, and those numbers aren't going anywhere. Now, the ComEd every year revises the payout and the requirements to get it. So every year they shift a little bit. So you just need to make sure you check up. Nationally, my understanding is the end this year.
I heard the end of September.
Well, that's for cars. Cars end in September.
Okay, cars in September, but other for units and so forth, and induction stoves and things like that, we have until the end of the year.
That's my understanding.
Current.
Yes. Current. Well, yes.
At any moment.
Yes, it does. The end of the year. Yeah, solar ends the end of the year. So if you wanted to get a solar array, act fast. Okay, you go ahead. You're another person. Oh, yes. Okay, I'll oh, do you?
This is only for new builds or people?
As far as the rebates? Okay, the rebates. Yes, these are like, my system is retrofit into an existing house, so I got the rebates. Yeah, it's new homes actually can't do these. New homes can't. If you got a new build home, you can't. As far as I know, you don't get either of those. because it's just required by law. You have to hit certain numbers when you start building a house. Okay. Yeah.
How does the outdoor unit, the evaporator, when it's in the heating mode, how does that defrost? Is there electric heating elements built into those?
Okay, excellent. He asks, how does the outdoor unit defrost when it's in heating mode, when you're running in the winter time? The GREE and probably most others that I know of use what they call hot gas. So what they do is they flip back into air conditioning mode, and the GREE would turn off the indoor fan, flips back into air conditioning mode, and it dumps the hot gas straight out of the compressor right back to the outdoor coil, just like it's running in air conditioning mode again. And with that much heat coming off the compressor, it doesn't take very long. I watched it run through those cycles just out of curiosity. I could see it on the energy monitor, right? I could see it spool down, and I could see it. I could even hear it maybe flip over and then fire back up. A minute, 90 seconds is all it'll take to defrost. It's very smart. It's actually watching its performance because it has enough technology on to see its performance. So it's not on a time defrost or anything like that. So when you get really cold, there's not much humidity left in the air, so it's not defrosting that often. But you can get conditions that are like a little more moist. It'll defrost a little more frequently, but it's very smart about it. Again, like I said, the outdoor unit's very intelligent. Sure. I just did the straight basic rate. The hourly rate, wintertime hourly rate, in my experience, and you've got more recent experience than I do, they're pretty flat. So
it mostly does funky things in summer.
Summertime is when it gets wacky, yeah. 16 cents. I did have solar, and I did have net metering, but I excluded all that because every month I use more than my, production, and certainly in the wintertime, by a long shot. So I don't know if I repeated the question. He asked what kind of rate plan I was on, so that he could reference the numbers back for himself. Those numbers are 16 cents kilowatt hour, which is what I saw to be my average based on my bill every month. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a heat pump water heater and a heat pump cooling and heating unit. So I have gas backup.
Okay.
And I have a gas dryer.
Okay.
Do I qualify for
No. Oh, so he asked if he has a gas furnace, and with a would he qualify for the all electric rate for heating? And no, because you have a gas furnace for backup. Yeah, unfortunately, no. You had your hand up.
Is there a preferable side of a home to put a heat pump? Like, is the west side better than the south side?
I will say my opinion as far as where to put the heat pump. I worry more about snow packing up around it. That's why mine was up so high, is I didn't want snow to pack up. I don't want to have to go out there and dig this silly thing out in the middle of winter. So if you've got an area where it's drifting a lot, then I would be wary of that. The other thing to look at is where's your gust. If you have real strong gusts, you don't really want it getting big, strong gusts blowing into the front of it. So where mine, that's just where the old air conditioner was, and I just put it back there. Yeah, and as far as one of the things I guess to mention here is most of the time, even if you're going up in size, you're going up in efficiency. So you really don't have to change the electrical stuff feeding the outdoor unit. So if you're doing like he did and keep the gas backup, your gas line is sufficient, so you don't have to do anything there because you can keep the same gas furnace capacity, and you put in maybe potentially even a little bit larger heat pump if needed, and you're going to have still probably the same electrical demand or less electrical demand. So you don't have to do many changes to the electrical system, right? So on mine, I had the electrical box disconnect, the breaker inside, all that stayed the same. None of that changed. I just took the heat pump up, even though it was a 4.5 ton versus a 3.5 ton. It just all got hooked up to the same circuit. It was all rated for that circuit size, and everything was fine. So now on the indoor side, I had to run a big heavy wire over to feed that indoor units for its backup heat. That's a different animal. And we start getting into that. We start talking about load calculations and stuff like that. I presented previously on load calculations, and nobody died from boredom. Thank goodness. All right, next question. I think she had beat you to it. Oof. She asked, is there difference for the commercial versus residential on the ComEd rebates and tax rate? I have no idea. I have no idea. I've not seen anything from ComEd on that topic, but then again, I may not because of where I fit into their world.
Kim can answer that.
Yeah, okay. And somebody up here.
What would you estimate the installation cost? Because you said that you installed it yourself to get it comprehensive.
It varies drastically. She asked what would be the install cost for a system. Because obviously I talked about the hardware, the equipment cost, not the install cost. Varies dramatically by installer. Installers, if you go to your installer and say, Mr. Installer or Mrs. Installer, I want an exact drop-in replacement, and they can get an exact drop-in replacement, that is pretty easy to do, right? And so the amount of time that it takes for them to do that is pretty easy. They may still charge you $5,000 or $6,000 in labor. When you go in a system like this, that's dramatically different in every way, shape, or form, you can expect that number to go up, probably $10,000 or even $15,000 for install.
Okay, thank you.
Now you may find somebody who's friendly and willing to do it for less, but that's,
Like you.
well, maybe. I do this occasionally. I don't have time to make a full-time. I'll be out of it. Kyle had his hand up first there. What do you say, Kyle?
So you said you're using involved with solid data. What are the different costs you get?
Emporia's energy monitoring system is what I was using. So I recall it's around $250. That doesn't include the circuit level sensors. So it's like $350 with 16 circuit level sensors, give or take. You can find it's just one-time charge. It needs internet, obviously. And once you have it, you have an app on your phone. You can see your energy usage for all sorts of different, time frames. It's not like it doesn't do everything that you might ever want it to do, but for a commercial off-the-shelf product with no recurring costs, just an upfront cost and long-term app access, it actually is pretty good and pretty affordable. Now, you can obviously do more cool things if you're so inclined. As far as installation goes, you need to have some place to plug it in inside your circuit breaker box. You need to have Wi-Fi that it can talk to that's within range of the circuit breaker box, and be daring enough to install it or have someone else install it. And as far as install goes, it takes to label all the circuits and set everything up properly. It takes 2 to 3 hours in my experience to do that. So figure at least $300 or so to have an electrician do that, or do it yourself. So you knock yourself out. Yeah, you're right.
I just wanted to ask about pricing installed ones. I got a full house carrier heat pump unit in furnace, gas, propane.
Yeah.
And my summer cooling bill right now for my entire house is average about 30 cents a day.
Yeah, that's awesome. So is it a new build house then? Okay. Have you done a lot of insulation or?
Insulated?
Yeah.
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 $15 a month.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And
And that's without the solar, right? It's on the propane.
That's
Well.
Cool. And it really is kicked on to like dehumidifying. Is the cycle is almost the same.
yeah, that makes sense. So you have relatively new windows? Really? Wow. Okay, that's impressive. You've got a good house then. A little luck never hurt anyone. Oh, Bob? Oh yeah.
Inside the.
It goes inside the circuit breaker panel. Yeah. And
That's where I draw the line of where I want to go.
I do find that like a 10 by 10 add-on box, you can pick them up at like Menards or Home Depot or whatever for $20-$30, and a piece of conduit to run between the two. Add it below the box or wherever is appropriate, and then you can put it in there and run all the wires and stuff down to it.
It does need like a 2-inch piece of conduit.
Yeah. A nice big fat conduit. Yeah.
The guy in the yellow shirt.
Sir.
Next slide.
He's gonna say,
it gets you down to monitoring at the circuit breaker level.
Yes.
It's down to lower than that. I believe they have like plug-in adapters you can plug in and then it'll monitor that.
Emporia does also sell, he asked about plug-in adapters. Yes, so Emporia does also offer a little plug-on adapter that you can plug in an outlet and then plug devices into. Just be aware that it doesn't like things that actually pull like 20 amps. Like if you put a microwave on it, it's not gonna be happy about that. And when you put that in, you tell it if it's nested under a different circuit that's already monitored or if it's a separate circuit that's not monitored on the unit. And by doing that, it knows how to, well, yeah, it doesn't double count and it knows how to split it out that way. That works very well. Yeah, you can manage it with the Emporia app. And you can also do cool stuff like schedule it. So my old place, I actually wired the outdoor lights, the front of the house outdoor lights onto one of those. And so anytime, and I set it to sunrise and sunset. So when sunrise came around, the outdoor lights all turned off. When sunset came around, they all came on. So I automated all that with that little device.
Yes. The amount of money you need to just go whole hog in terms of house electric. Do you have any recommendation on what appliances you should, if you have a plan for doing this little bit by little bit, what appliances should you replace first and so forth?
So she's asking how to plan one of these projects out as far as going full electric. My opinion is you want to sit down and make an assessment of your house and what your goal is. That's step one. And because if your goal is full electric or is your goal gas backup? And once you make that decision, and you're not stuck with that decision, but the reason why I say do that first is because, like I talked about the last presentation, is do you have the power to do what you want? And if you don't, then you need to start out by doing a service upgrade. Because then, once you do the service upgrade, then you're able to just do these things as the equipment ages out or as the equipment becomes too expensive to operate, ages out and breaks, right? But you're ready, because the last thing you want to do is say, okay, I'm going to replace my furnace with an all electric system when it fails, and then it fails and you don't have the power to do it, right? So you gotta have a plan, and then that way you can actually make sure you have the power available to execute that plan, whatever it may be.
I will say, if you're on gas cooking currently, just immediately replace that.
So
If you have gas, he's got the speaker here.
yeah, if you have gas, he's saying, Kyle's suggesting if you have a gas stove to get rid of it. That's his suggestion.
Start that.
But I can also tell you that, I can also tell you that a stove is a very high, it's not a high energy usage as far as kilowatt hours per month, but it's got a very high peak. And so when you start talking about power calculations, a stove actually is quite a challenging thing to add. So if you're close on power already. So that's one of those trade-offs, right? And so these are things you have to consider as you're looking at your bigger picture. How do I get to where I want to be? And this is something I can definitely help you with. I can help you guys with this over the phone or via email or whatever. We can run through this. It's not something I need to even show up for. I can walk you through how to do that. Okay.
One more question before we end.
I see ads for do-it-yourself heat pumps, split mini sort of heat pumps.
Sure.
Is that really a thing?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so what you're looking for is a system like Menards has got one. But so Menards has got one. He's asked about, can I do my own heat pump, like a mini split? And the answer is absolutely. So what you're looking for, if you don't want to buy or deal with doing like evacuation of line sets, buy one with pre-charged lines. Menards has got an 11,000 BTU unit for sale for like $450 right now. I can show you the link later. And 11,000 is a lot for a room. Now it's not super high efficiency, but it's good, right? It's not great, but it's good. If you want to spend four times that money, you can get something that's, doubly efficient. But it's literally that kind of math, right? Right. $450 versus 2,000, and then now you're. Well, like I said, these things are pre-charged lines. You make the connect. You just, there's a clean break, no break, or whatever you want to think of it as connection. You put it on, connect it, and the line's pre-charged, the unit's pre-charged. When you make the connection, it opens. So there's no opportunity for air to get in the system.
So higher level than lower.
Yeah, you can definitely buy more expensive equipment, but it depends on how you're going to use it. If you're just going to use it sporadically, then it doesn't necessarily make sense to spend the $2,000 on a system that's more efficient because you're only using it occasionally. So if it's something you're going to use in your garage or whatever, right?
Always be above the spot, and I don't want that big sport heater to come on.
Well, in that case, you'd want to spend a little more money. Yeah, and you can get like I think Mr. Cool makes some higher end units that have higher SEER ratings that are more efficient, that also have the quick connect line sets that don't require some of the more advanced stuff. Now, I'll just tell you, you're working with a fixed set of line, right? You have X amount of line. You have to figure out what to do with that line. If you have to buy a longer line set, now you have a longer line set. Just plan that out.
Not be cutting it length.
No, because it's pre-charged, right? And I wouldn't put it behind the unit because that's going to block the airflow to the unit. Okay, does that make sense? Kyle really wants to talk.
Yes, he does.
What do you want, Kyle?
Pre-built line set. Any gotchas.
That a do-it-yourself
Any
version.
DIY.
I will say any DIY, anytime you're messing with refrigerant lines, you got to be very careful not to kink them. If you need to buy just be very careful. Because copper lines, they're thin wall, they will kink. You just got to be very careful. And Kyle has more to say.
Any concerns with the oil and the refrigerant cooling?
In the electric.
I wouldn't be worried about it. The way these guys operate, they recommend coiling up the excess and stuff like that. If that's not an oil trap, I don't know what is. So I wouldn't worry about that. That gets, again, we're getting way out into the weeds here. Way out in the weeds. If you're installing it per the manufacturer's instructions and they say coil up the excess, just don't coil it up behind the unit.
And
Well,
Joel's going to be here.
I'll be
after
around. You'll be around.
The program because he's having dinner with me.
I will be here.
So he will be here, and I'd like to thank you for this information because I
Of course.
totally off of what I was expecting it.
Oh, good. Well, thank you.
See you later.
Well, let them close the show and then let's just.
Is it related? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, wait, ask away.
So you said you have 4 electric cars.
Yes. Depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Just like any other car purchase, it all depends on the car and what you're trying to do with that car. You're going to try to drive to California? I have opinions. You want to just drive around town and do like normal daily day-to-day stuff? I have opinions. Day-to-day stuff, I have 2 Chevy Bolts that my kids drive around like locally. Yeah, you can drive it farther. It sucks to drive it a lot farther. One of my kids took it all the way from here to Shawnee National Forest, St. Louis, all that. He didn't like it because he spent a lot of time charging. But Bolt for around town is fantastic. Cheap, fantastic, easy to maintain, just great.
Thank you.
You can also talk to Bob about electric cars.
Kyle.
Kyle will be back, I'm sure. And then I think there's other people in the back. Okay. Oh, and wait.
I think there's more.
Okay. Oh, I can do announcements. That's right. That's what's next. Sorry.
I expect it.
I'm not used to doing this part of it. Okay. So now you have your chance to do your 1 minute. And we're going to have to move the microphone back. That's only one microphone.
Chase you.
So I will set the timer for 1. You set the timer. Yeah.
Hello. Gansi or donations that help homeowners to go native. Our next natural yard walk will be September 27th at the home of Jim and Marlene Keenan. Jim has been restoring his prairie as long as I've known him, 20 some years. And he went from just a field to now he has a beautiful lush prairie. You all might know him as the seed guy because he is all about collecting seeds and being involved in the seed sharing. So hopefully you'll come out for that. That's really our program now. At 10 a.m. and you can find more information and the directions at thewppc.org. Everybody knows that, right? I am also a board member of the Food Shed Co-op. If you haven't been there, it's a beautiful store. We have really wonderful produce. I love it because it's small, it's easy to get through fast, and you still find everything you need. Right. So please come. Who here is an owner? All right. Well, if you're not an owner, come and see me because you should be. But please come and try to shop because this is our slow season in the summer. So the more people shop, it really helps us to keep our momentum going. So thank you so much. And who is next? Oh, there you are.
Did you?
Oh, right. Yes.
Hi, I'm Mike Chikoyan. I am a board member of Faith Bridge, the interfaith group in this area. And we are conducting a patient care on September 21st, the equinox, out at Pleasant Valley. And we will be planting oak trees, gathering seeds, and I'm not sure what else. We're doing some religious Native American stuff and things like that, and talk about the smart farm, and there'll be a few other presentations. So, and I have flyers. So it's on the 21st from 1 to 4 p.m.
Do they need RSVP?
No.
I'm just curious what kind of oaks you want.
It's whatever the
He probably doesn't know that yet.
whatever the conservation district wants us to plant.
Right. Thanks, Mike. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kim Hankins from the Sustainability Center at McHenry County College. You know what I'm going to talk to you about. You know it, you love it. It's the Green Living Expo. But I want to tell you some really great stuff that we've got lined up already. We are still open for vendors. We're looking for a few more vendors and exhibitors. So if you know anybody that might want to join us, please reach out. We have the Science and Industry Museum is going to be there, which is really, really cool. We've been after them for years to join us. And now we actually have somebody on site at MCC. So it was easier to twist her arm. So she'll be there. The 2,500 gallon fish tank will be back. IDNR will be bringing the fish from Chain of Lakes. So that's always fun, except for that poor giant muskie that doesn't always get much room. And we're going to have a repair fair. Some of you guys might remember we did a repair fair this past April. It was the first one we've ever done in McHenry County, and it was very fun. And we're going to try it again. So bring your stuff to the expo, to the repair fair, and then you can walk around the expo and then go back and get your stuff. So there's more information on the table. But again, if you know anybody that might want to join us, either to join, you'll hear more about it. Don't worry, I'll be back next month. But we're still looking for vendors. Thank you.
Yes. And just walking out was Jack, who has been our server this evening. So make sure if you need him, why flag him down. Jack. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Got to get it back.
Oh.
I'm going to switch from my electric car hat to my Citizens Utility Board hat. Bob Kaplow, I am here to let you know, NICOR, for those of you who haven't cut the gas line yet, is asking for a $316 million rate increase this year. Illinois Commerce Commission is holding a public forum in Elgin tomorrow night at the Hemmons Cultural Center at 7 p.m. Show up, speak up.
Thanks. There are also petitions you can sign on the CUB website, correct? Yes. So make sure that you're doing that. Okay. Nancy.
Nancy Sheetzel with the Environmental Defenders of McHenry County. We hope you'll all attend the Monarch Family Fest at Main Beach this coming Sunday. It's organized by Friends of Hackmatack, but there's a coalition of groups that will be there, probably about 20, 25 conservation organizations in the county. And it's going to be a lot of fun. There's free swimming that day, so bring your swimming suits and learn all about monarchs while you enjoy ice cream tokens from Culver's after you leave. Then you can have an ice cream cone. So 12:30 to 4 at Main Beach on Sunday.
Anyone else? So Scott.
Can I wear two hats?
You get 2 minutes.
All right. So I'm Scott Kuykendall, the Water Resources Specialist for the McHenry County Department of Planning and Development. And every year we have a great program called the Water Forum. This year it's going to be held on September 10th at McHenry County College. It'll run from 5:30 to 8. So every year we choose a different topic related to water resources. This year the topic is watersheds and watershed planning. So who knows what a watershed is? All right, a lot of people. So we're going to have great speakers. We're going to be having Cecily Coons from Baxter and Woodman talking about what watersheds are. And then we'll have representatives from the village of Algonquin talking about how they have utilized watershed plans to implement tremendous projects that help them manage storms and improve water quality. I'm not above bribing people with good food. So we have Duke's Ale House and Kitchen catering it. It's fully catered, buffet style. You're not going to be standing around waiting for dainty hors d'oeuvres. All we ask is that you bring your curiosity and an appetite. It's free and open to the public. So I have flyers in the back, and feel free to ask any questions that you have about the program. We typically get about 150 people. It really is a great, fun community event. So that's one hat. So next hat, we're going to be talking about what we're doing at the McHenry County Department of Planning and Development regarding watersheds. So what we're looking to do is do watershed planning countywide. Historically, what you do is you get a group together, spend a year having meetings, spend another year putting a plan together. So after 3 years of an effort, you're exhausted and don't get anything done. So what we're looking to do is do this countywide. And one of the first tools we've developed is an interactive mapping program that's open to the public. What this is intended to do is empower the public to have a voice in watershed planning. So it's an interactive map. You can go on the map. You can look at aerial photos from current to 1939. You can turn on different layers like wetlands, floodplain, watershed boundaries, stream names, and then you can actually provide a comment. If you know an area that's prone to flooding, if you know an area that's prone to erosion, you know an area that would be a great project to do a naturalized detention basin, you can go on there and identify the location, provide a comment, and actually have that part of the planning process. So without a tool like this, the public really does not have a lot of voice unless you come to a SHRET meeting or something like that. This is we're very excited to have this rolled out. I have flyers in the back, and it's set up to use on your phone or your laptop. So I'm sorry I went over.
Oh, you're fine. Yep, I'm gonna do. Okay, I'm gonna wear my Defenders hat at this point and let you know about 2 volunteer opportunities we have coming up. The first one is the big book, what we call the big book, which will be in Algonquin at the end of September and into October. And so if you can go on to the Defenders website, all the information is there, as well as a sign up, right? And there's a sign up sheet or link to the sign up sheet in the back, so you can sign up to work the book sale. And we especially need drivers to help us go pick up the books. Okay, Nancy is already talking to Jacob right now. Okay, the other one is the Defenders' other major fundraiser is the Christmas Tree Farm. Pioneer Tree Farm in just north of McHenry off of 31 is run by the Defenders now. The Howensteins, we help the Howensteins by providing all the volunteer help. That's a different topic. I'm the one controlling it. Anyway, if you have any inclination and are not already volunteering at the tree farm, we do have a list of everyone who's already volunteered in the past. But if you would like to get involved in volunteering, get in touch with me. You'll see it in the next newsletter with my email and my phone number, and leave me a message, and then we'll get you on the list and we'll get you called. Most of the volunteer activities are outside, and so you need to dress warm if it's cold out, but there are a few inside ones where you can dress warm and still be comfortable. So.
And both of these volunteer activities are a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, they're a ton of fun. People love them. Okay, Erin's next.
Hi, everybody. Erin Kennedy. I'm the director for the Environmental Defenders. Just wanted to thank all the new faces out there. Remind you that you're always welcome. We're here the first Wednesday of every month on varying environmental topics. If you want to look back at recorded or pre-recorded green drinks, you can always visit our YouTube channel, and they're all kind of broken down by subjects, so you can kind of peruse that if you will. We've got a couple upcoming events. We've got our membership potluck that's coming up on Saturday. from 12 to 3 at Pleasant Valley. It's going to be a good opportunity to get together, have some good food, have some good conversation. So if you're interested, we have an RSVP on our website. It also went out today in e-news, or you can talk to myself or Grace. We'd love to see you there. And then we've got an upcoming fundraiser, kind of an unconventional fundraiser, but we're partnering with Moss and Marrow Tattoo Shop again. On August 16th, they are doing a pollinator flash sale. So they are designing specific pollinator tattoos that you can get, and 50% of those proceeds will go back to the defenders. So kind of a fun thing to do, but we will be out there talking about all the work that we do. So just keep that in mind. We've got flyers in the back.
Anyone else?
Hi, I'm Beth Holland from the McHenry County chapter of Citizens Climate Lobby. And a lot of people are really busy, but if you're not a member, you can join online and community. And occasionally you could get a text or email asking for about 5 minutes to call for whatever we need at the time, which is usually some kind of special legislation or just please have legislation to mitigate climate change. So that's Citizens Climate Lobby. Thanks.
Awesome. Yes, Jonathan.
Tomorrow, I'll be at the Environmental Commission in Woodstock. So if anyone else cares about their trees, they're working on a revised tree plan. So come join me and talk about trees. And then at the end of the month, who here likes horses? Cares about hoofed animals? The Hoofed Animal Society is hosting Brass in the Barnyard. So they're opening it up to the public, and they're going to have a 16-piece band there. If any of you know me, I love to dance, so I'll actually be teaching a lesson there. But come support a good cause. Tickets are $40 for that. So thought I'd put that out there. Then lastly, we also have a Facebook. If you're not familiar, give us a follow. I'm going to try to do my best to share the events that we've talked about here on there. I'm going to give that a shot. We'll see.
But make sure make sure you see an event that supports Green Drinks or one of our organizations. Be sure to share it and or acknowledge that you're interested or you're going, because that spreads it out further. So we're trying to get more people involved in our environmental groups. Leslie.
And if you're interested, this weekend is Veggie Fest down in Naperville from 11 o'clock to 8 o'clock. It's free. Parking is free. All you have to do is get there. They have workshops. They have a food court. If you want to try stuff out, you don't have to be a vegetarian to go or vegan. You just go and learn a little bit more about how to eat a little cleaner and a little lighter on the earth. But that is up to you to kind of figure out, certainly. So there's a lot to be involved in around here. Our county has endless, so find what it is that you're interested in and go for it. But we want to thank Jeff again for a great presentation. Yeah. And we hope your gardens are growing well. Tomatoes should be ripening. Anybody got some tomatoes yet? Mine are still coming. That's good. Have a good time with that. Stay cool in the heat. Take care of yourselves. And remember to keep taking care of this precious planet we have that we share with so many others, and take care of them too. We'll see you next time. Thanks again for coming.